Hello, everybody. Bernie Floresky from Career Services with the Halloween version of the resume group workshop. So today we have two volunteers, Bhavya and Edelson. Just a little bit of background for our folks. For Edelson, he came to me at one point. We've been working on Edelson's resume, so we will probably have a different spin to today's call. And Bhavya, on the other hand, came to talk to me this morning, and resume wasn't a topic that we were going to talk about, but he quickly went to do the resume homework, which we'll show shortly. So speaking of resume homework, if you guys were on your profile, most of you, if you click on home, to the left-hand side will be the groups that you join. And since I probably sent this to you, you just go to Illinois Tech Career Services. And the Illinois Tech group is, as you're seeing on the screen. And we used to pin the index to the content on top. But since we have so many announcements, we've just made it a point to put the index content as one of the comments to multiple. So if you take a look at this, there's the study guide. You can go to the next one and you can find it. So I'm just going to open up the index and we can cover the content. This is alphabetized based on topic. So you have hashtag alumni, hashtag business relations, all the way to hashtag resume, et cetera, et cetera. And if you notice on the right-hand side, we have other people referring to this, because the beauty of this content index is it becomes your study guide that's available to you guys 24/7, because you're busy students, you're busy doing your homework. But if this is available to you guys 24/7, you can go and work on job search activity and intersperse that with what you're doing. But before we go that, I would like to talk about resume design principles. Did I lose that now? I probably did. Sorry, guys, we prepared it at the beginning of the session, but now it's gone. So no problem. It gets for me to show how to use the index as well. So you could do a Control F to search, and I do hashtag resume, and we go to the resume homework. So the homework is always on top, but let's pick like one of the case studies that's spoken about in the homework. And I want Bhavya and Edelson to talk to us about what I like to call the resume design principles. So Edelson, let me start with you, since you've kind of like warmed up to job search material. What does the first check mark mean to you?
Job search is an art. Take advice with a grain of salt. So it's a little bit tricky, but I think it's saying that the activity of finding a job is really interesting, and I think you end up learning day by day how to make your CV, your resume even better. For example, for me especially, I've been learning each day that I've been with Mr. Bernie about a resume. How can I come to the best resume possible? So I think that's why it's an art, and we should try to learn it every day how to make it better.
Okay, very good interpretation, Edelson. Let me hear what Bobby has to say, and then I'll put in my 2 cents.
Yeah, I mean, what I understand is that, I mean, it's what you want to do with your the method of finding a job, or it could be resume, and you can take advice from Bernie or search it online, but it's something of your own creation. Is something which I've understood by this line.
Yes, very good, Bobby. So job search, it's not a science, so to speak, so that if I put this in, the outcome is like very specific. This is going to be the outcome if this is what we did. That's kind of like what we're talking about job search, because Bobby could apply this technique and then get fantastic results. And then Edelson applies the exact tactic and then he doesn't get results. So I guess that's all we're trying to say with that. It's not an
Mhm.
exact science. It's an art. You kind of like have to play with the best practices that we're sharing. And then advice is obviously very abundant. Okay, like even for our career services department, you can go to BJ, you can go to Julie, you can go to Nick. We probably have like different experiences that have worked for us personally in the past, but may not necessarily work for you. So I like what Bhavya did in that he combined the two check marks and that it's an art. You take it with a grain of salt, meaning it's not the rule. You consider it, but do what you think is best for you, tying into the second check mark. It's your resume. It's your LinkedIn, it's your job search. Therefore, whatever it is that you do about it, it's your call because it's your job search. Make sense?
Yes.
Yes.
Very good. So Bhavya, what do you remember from the check number 3 that we spoke about in my office this morning? What did I say students are very good at doing?
um, Students are very good at following the set of instructions given beforehand. They will follow whatever it's the generalized rules are and stick to it, as even I have done that mistake of sticking to the how the VMOC suggested. And then I mean, then I realized after talking to you that I mean there are no rules, and as I mentioned before, it's an art and it's up to me if I want to add more more adjectives in my resume. I can do that.
Yes. Yeah, it's
So that's
definitely your
why.
final call. And then templates, the thing that I kind of wanted to bring is normally when you see a template, it starts with education and then
Nice.
skills and then work experience, et cetera, et cetera. Students think that they can't move it around. Since the resume is all about your experience, different students appear differently because you all have different experiences and backgrounds. So if resume is all about standing out and it's all about highlighting what's good about you, that shifts all around based on who we're speaking to, based on whose experiences we're talking about. That's why it's kind of like flexible, because you massage the resume, so to speak, so that you are in the best place. So very good, Bhavya. So what about the fourth check mark? Edelson, why don't you take the fourth check mark bullet?
Always think like the hiring manager and make it about them, because sometimes we end up when we create our resume, we end up thinking about us, what we our experience, the way we want us to put it. But sometimes we need to put ourselves in the position of hiring manager, what we would like to see in this person. So we should try to highlight or try to show results in terms instead of description. So try to think like the hiring manager. So you could put things that people will actually be interested about and make you outstand in the 1,000 people that are also applying to the job. So try to put the information as clear as possible, but also as interesting, so that people can easily you can make an impact and be hired more fast than other people. So try to think in the position of the hiring manager.
Very good. Very good. It's always a mindset. And, because resume is really all about standing out, and it's really all about marketing yourself. And rule number 1 for marketing is it's always about the customer. Who's the customer in this situation? It's the hiring manager who's reading the product, which is your resume, the product, which is you, as the quote unquote commodity that they want to hire. So the confusing thing about resumes is it's a document about us. We kind of like get confused or mired into how we present ourselves, whereas we forget how it's landing on the most important piece of this equation, which at this point is the hiring manager who's going to call you in for an interview. Very good, Edelson. Anything to add to that, Bhavya?
No, I think I'm cool with it.
All right, cool. So the next thing I'm just going to cover it really quickly. So you guys hear this? I do it all the time. Hiring managers, HR people, do they have a lot of time or do they have little time?
Little time.
Very little time. Okay, very good. So we already agree that they have very little time. And then the next bullet talks about to make the manager's job easier. Would you rather, and this kind of like ties into the template, right? People are very good at completing the template. They're very comprehensive. They're very complete. They're very accurate. They want to give each and every detail. That's not the point. The whole point of a resume is such that we give the busy hiring manager the information that they need sooner versus later. As a result of that, you're going to see like Bhavya, when he shows his original resume, he actually made some changes that have to do with this last bullet. So what did you do exactly, Bhavya? I saw this shift after we had this conversation this morning because of the sooner versus later conversation. What did you add to your resume that we're going to talk about right now that you didn't have
So
before we
first,
spoke about this?
I didn't manage to put summary, which gives
You managed to put a
Yes.
summary because
This time.
Bhavya saw the importance of giving the hiring manager the information sooner versus waiting for them to get all the way
Yes.
to experience. Because Bhavya's original resume was experience, was like the third category. So Bhavya was expecting the hiring manager to spend all this time looking for the important information. And Bhavya just caught that we better give them the information sooner
yes.
versus later. Anything to add, Edelson?
No, what I would like to add is that the resume, the summary is really important, because if a hiring manager has little time, the first thing he will look to is the summary. And if our summary cuts attention, automatically he will want to read the rest of it, or you already gained some points and caused an impact on them. So you will easily contract on the company because you already made an impact on summary. So I think it's the best way for you to tell like a sneak peek of what you are and what you have done, but in few lines.
In a few lines, and you
In a
do
few
it
lines.
at the top of the resume. It's the first thing that they're
Exactly.
going to see.
Exactly.
Very good, Edelson. So Bhavya had a very good question when he and I talked about resumes this morning. He said, I've been reading about this and people say that summaries aren't good. And what did we say this morning, Bhavya? Remember objective, summary?
Yes.
Okay. What did you learn from our conversation?
That, it is important to serve them exactly and try to give points which try to distinguish yourself with others.
Correct. And the reason I said people generally say it's not good to have a summary, which they're confusing with the objective. Because usually what do people put in an objective? They say, I'm a hardworking,
Yes.
highly technical, blah, blah, blah kind of person, and I have this experience, and I'm looking for a company where I can grow and I have the opportunity to advance. That's the stuff that people
Yes.
do not want.
Yeah.
Okay.
They get it
So
every
you
time.
guys listening to the recording, we're not talking about don't give them the information they need sooner versus later. It's the actual content of what you're saying. Make sense?
Yes.
Anything to add to that? I think we're good, right?
Yeah,
So I
we're
guess
good.
we can go to Edelson's resume now. So like we were saying earlier, Edelson and I have been working together, but for starters, just so you guys have a point of reference, Edelson will share his screen with his original version. And what I'd like to do different for this resume workshop is we could like speak about his old version without me giving that comment. So Edelson, please take it away.
No problem. Can everyone see my screen?
See the old
Yes.
version. Make it a little bit
So-
bigger, please, maybe,
Okay.
so the
this is
recording
the-
folks can see it better. All right. So why did we shift away from this, Edelson? And what did you get out of our initial conversation? Well, actually, let's do this. Bhavya, because this is Bhavya's first impression. I want to hear what Bhavya has to say, because what the folks don't know on this recording is that Bhavya actually, within the last couple of hours, actually went to do the resume homework. Kind
Yeah.
of like went through the 2-hour video, learned some stuff, and that's why he made some changes. But I'd like to see what Bhavya learned from listening to another resume workshop to see if he could like catch some of the things that we told Edison to do or not to do with this original version. So take it away, Bhavya.
Hmm.
First impressions. No worries if it's good or bad, it doesn't matter because we'll be talking right next to you.
I mean, for me, I think seeing the orientation of the stuff, I think it's more difficult for me at this moment.
Which part
having-
of orientation
Having
specifically? What were you talking
experience on the left side, skills on the right side.
Skills on the right side. Actually,
mean,
Edison has 2 columns. Yes.
Yes, 2 columns is something which is different from my eyes, because I would prefer as the manager seeing in a, and which I'm also used to it, like seeing in a one column, you know.
Okay. Other first impressions,
Yes.
Bhavya?
I mean, summary.
Summary doesn't appear here. Okay.
Yes,
So
summary
he
doesn't
kind of
appear
didn't
here.
take advantage of giving them
Yes.
the information sooner versus later. Could you scroll down slowly, please, Edelson?
No problem.
So let's see the rest of the information.
Mm,
So he started with experience, which is kind of different from what most
Nice.
templates have, which was kind of good from Edelson. So I'm curious now, Edelson, why did you start with experience versus usually what students put, which they start with education? What was your thought process?
I actually put it experience because I thought that this part, the first part of experience, it's what makes the most impact on the resume. What I've
Very
done
good.
in this position is what made the most impact. So that's why I've put it first.
Very good. So Edelson,
Hmm.
without even having a conversation with career services, had a distinction for what was important to his audience. And Edelson, if you guys haven't gleaned that yet from just like looking at the information, actually was an entrepreneur back in Mozambique. So Edelson's thought process when he was going through this was, I have the entrepreneur experience. Experience is obviously going to be more important to the hiring managers. That's why he started with experience. Very good job, Edelson. So scroll down further down, please. Then you, after experience, you had education. What else did you have?
My high school.
You had your high school, and then
And
other
then-
activities.
Yeah, other
Very good.
activities, associations that I'm part of. Yeah,
All right, cool.
that's
Can you
it.
scroll back to the top, please?
Perfect.
So this is another thing in American, corporate America specifically, photos aren't required. And also from the mindset of looking for jobs in the States, you're looking to give the hiring manager less reasons to take you out of the running. And photos is one of those things that is totally unnecessary because number one, it's not required. And number two, you're giving them yet another reason not to have you in the running. What if somebody didn't like your picture? Or what if somebody was biased, or they were having a bad day and your picture happened to hit them, with the wrong chord, right?
Nice.
So don't give them any other reason to like throw your resume in the garbage can. So just in general, I have this a lot actually from some of the other students from like Europe, because I think it's probably practice when you put a photo. So you will notice that Edelson had this, which was probably a practice that worked in Mozambique, but it doesn't work in the States. So
Excellent.
also, I'd like to point out for the people on the call, Edison had like a street address. It's not necessary to tell them. I think you use, this is Illinois Tech street address, but
Yeah,
some folks,
exactly.
they actually put their residence address. Not necessary to put your street address. You could just put, state, like Chicago, Illinois, and then the zip code should be fine. Okay, and then the original question with Edelson, he's got an international number because it's +258. So question for Edelson, and he obviously knows the answer, is this relevant information to the hiring manager? No, because they're not going to call his number in Mozambique.
And will make them more confused because they will not know which number they should use. So-
Exactly.
so
And it's
a-
quote unquote, this is a question that I asked Bhavya earlier. So from the nature of human beings, when there's extra information that you read through, even if it's just one line, if it's like one thing. So the general mindset when you're writing your resume is less is better because it doesn't clutter it for the reader. So whatever extra you can take out, if it's like take out this extra period or take out the extra space, it's what we're talking about, and that we're not wasting, quote unquote, the reading time. And to address human nature of, you know how you have that feeling when you have something that's very populated or like
Right.
very dense with words,
Yeah.
it's like, yeah, I don't want to read it type thing. I mean, I'm sure the hiring managers don't say that, but human nature, again, you're less likely to be inclined to want to read it. So we have all of that. So ta-da, Edelson is going to talk about the new resume, and I'd like to hear what Bhavya has to say about our current version.
Perfect. Perfect. Let me show the new version. Yeah. Okay, let me try to zoom it a little bit. And then
So I want to
I'll
hear
scroll.
first impressions from Bhavya, and you on the call, on the recording. I want you guys to have first impressions, and then we're going to compare it when we come back as a group.
Yeah.
You see it? Okay, make it a tad larger, Edelson, please.
A tab large, okay.
Just a tad.
There is a huge
Okay.
difference in the previous
Huge difference, huh?
and this resume. I can see a lot of numbers. He's
Hmm.
finding
What's the
every place.
significance of numbers? Is it just a matter of putting any numbers?
No, I mean it shows the facts. I think it portrays the objective value is what I've understood,
Okay,
and the impact you have or had on the company.
what's
mean, of course-
standing out to you, for example?
Generated $4 million.
$4 million.
Yes, 4 million Mozambique
Mhm.
in 2 years. That's a good number. Like, okay, then 2 years he generated 4 million.
Mhm.
And then 25 WordPress's websites he created and also trained 5 students. So I think these numbers gives out a lot. I mean, tells us a lot about Edison, you know.
Very good. It tells a lot about Edelson. It tells us what Edelson accomplished, and it's telling to us sooner
Yeah.
versus later, right? What other impressions do you have? What about the formatting?
Yeah, I mean, it has improved. The layout has
Improved, how so?
improved. Yes. I mean,
In what way?
now his education is above, experience has gone down. I can see more white spaces, which means it's less cluttered.
Okay,
It's good for my eyes to see. I get
it's more
Yeah.
inviting, right?
yes, and I can look at each sections like for education and experience
Yeah.
and summary.
Thank you, Edelson, for scrolling. Scroll some more.
But I have a question. Like, is it necessary whenever you show the numbers, you have to put it in the brackets?
No, that's a personal style thing that I've suggested to some of the students. The whole point of putting it in brackets is sometimes because you have, like, say, the number 1, it's very easy to gloss over the number 1. But if you put it in the bracket, it kind of like highlights it a little bit more. So to your point, is it required? No, it's a way of emphasizing it, but it's not necessary. Personal style.
Okay.
Other calls. I have one change here that I made a recommendation to Edelson, and I see that it's still there. Let's see if Bhavya catches it. Because I'm waiting for you, Edelson, to tell me also why it's still there.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is, hang on. This is the final version. So when we go into final version and we get nitpicking into formatting or typo, that means we're close to finishing to the finished product. So
Right.
we're at that stage with Edelson where I'm like really nitpicking right now, because a resume has to be perfect from the standpoint of no typos, formatting has to be perfect, everything lined up, which he kind of has for the most part. And before you say anything, Edelson, I want to see if Bhavya catches something.
Okay.
And I'm going to narrow it down for you, Bhavya, so that you're not looking all over the place unless you caught it.
Is it
Want me to give
the
you the clue?
let's take a clue.
The clue is it's in the experience part.
Is it because there are no bullets?
No, that's a style thing, which he has the option to do. He can do bullets or he can do it in a running paragraph format, which is fine. He could
Hmm.
replace it with bullets, but obviously Edelson made a call that he preferred running paragraphs. So he can change it to bullets too if he changes his mind later. So that's not it. So scroll down slower, Edelson, to see the entire thing that you haven't experienced, because something's sticking out right now that I don't know if you're catching, Bhavya. And this is how we know that the resume is very close, because he could probably pass to an hiring manager's eyes, but this is the resume guy here that's speaking,
Oh,
that kind of like caught it.
maybe
Bhavya?
maybe the company is not. I'm just guessing right now. Maybe
Yeah,
the
guess
companies
it's
are not
fine.
visible. Like they're
The
not.
company, he has Tech Solutions.
Like it's
and
very difficult
then-
to find out. At least from what I think.
Why is it difficult?
Like it could have bolded. You could bold.
So he
the
wants to
text.
bold, he wants
Yeah.
to bold Tech Solutions, and he
Yeah.
wants to bold CEO. He's gonna bold both.
No, CEO could be small.
Okay, so here's a question for you. What's more important to the hiring manager, or what's going to
CEO.
impress the hiring manager?
Yeah.
Tech Solutions or CEO?
CEO.
Okay, so to the point, I
Mhm.
mean, your suggestion is very valid. But again, this is what we were talking about earlier. There's general rules, and then there's the
Right.
nuances between different people. Edelson has CEO that should stand up,
True.
right?
Yeah.
So that's why he bolded CEO. Actually,
Hmm.
to answer your question, Bhavya, he actually had Tech Solutions highlighted earlier.
Yeah,
Okay.
exactly.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
companies highlighted, and then I kind of like switching it around because I'm like,
Ah.
well, Tech Solutions, it's not Google or Amazon, so they probably don't care about that. It's
Yeah,
really the
exactly.
CEO that they want, right? Does that make sense, Bhavya?
Right.
And this is what I said at the beginning of the call. Different students have different strengths that they want to highlight. In
Hmm.
Edelson's case, CEO was something we wanted to highlight. So even though in his original version, Tech Solutions was highlighted, I switched it around, and I guess Edelson agrees that it's really CEO that we
Yeah.
want to highlight. But that wasn't it. Should I tell you what it is? Okay, I'm gonna ask
Hmm.
Edelson to explain what
Yeah.
it is, because he knows what it is. Edelson, let's hear your explanation. What did I flag?
Yeah. So there was a comment here saying that the word project, this part was highlighted, saying that this sticks out and the rest are companies' names. But
You
I
catch that,
didn't.
Bhavya?
Yeah.
Do you catch the
Yes.
what I caught? Because he has Tech Solutions, and then he has Association of Small Medium, and then has this IIT thing, right?
Right.
Mhm.
How do they say that? Intinium?
Intinium. Yeah,
Intinium.
exactly.
Okay, so you see what I'm talking about, Bhavya? He has
Yes.
Tech Solutions, his association, he has Illinois Tech, and then projects
Projects in middle.
out of the blue.
Hmm.
Yeah.
So let's hear what Edelson has to say about that, because he hasn't changed it.
Exactly. That first I wanted to understand what should I didn't understand what should I change. Now I understood. So I think
Okay.
it's in the wrong position, or I shouldn't have bolded it, right? And make it.
Here's a point of clarification. Where you developed
Mhm.
3 websites, was that all part of Tech Solutions?
Yes.
Okay, so I wouldn't
This
even call
this
it out as
project.
projects. I can just like get
Oh.
rid of the word projects, and I can have 2 different paragraphs if you want, because you have a problem here now. If we combine it all as one running paragraph, you're gonna have a lot of white space now. Remember how we
Mm.
started with 2 pages for your resume? And now
Yes,
we're
yes,
having the
yes.
problem if quote unquote, we don't have enough. Well, we have enough.
Mm.
We have enough of the relevant information. So your call, Edelson, what do you want to do?
If we try to take the projects and make into 2 paragraphs, for example, like this,
Yeah.
something like this, I
Get rid
think
of the space. Get rid of the space.
wait, yeah, give
Okay,
it like
that.
this.
That
That
looks
I think it's
fine to me.
Yeah.
And
that
then
looks fine.
to Bobbia's point earlier, what if you make the company names italics? See if that calls it out a little bit more to Bobbia's original point, and see how you like it. Did you
So
understand?
that was
Like
for me or
Tech
for Bhavya?
Solutions,
Tech
no, Tech
Solutions.
Solutions Limited, you make that italics. And try to make the
Oh,
next one italics, the association, make both of those
okay,
italics.
perfect. Let
Does
me
that
try
help what you were talking
that.
about earlier,
Yeah, I think that helps
Bhavya?
because it.
Does it
Yes.
pull it out for you?
Yes.
Okay, good. So I just caught a major formatting thing that, let's see if Edelson catches it.
Entrepreneurship is italic while the others are wait. What the
That was
others
on
are just
purpose because we
they
wanted
were
to
not.
highlight director.
Right.
But now that we highlighted the company names, it kind of is not consistent with what we were
Right.
trying to do. So
Mm.
that's a good catch. That's why I wasn't thinking. So now you have to make a decision as to what you want to make entrepreneurship regular or keep it the way it is. It's your call. It's your resume.
Yeah, I think we can keep it. For me, there is no problem about that.
Okay, but that's not what I caught. I caught something else when you made a change that changed your resume, and this is me nitpicking again.
Was it the dates changing as well?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Very nice catch, Bhavya.
Yeah,
Very
that's
nice
true.
catch.
That's true.
So make the January 2022 to present regular.
Yeah. When I was changing, it changed.
Yes.
Maybe for
Perfect.
maybe I have a suggestion. Maybe for the companies, we could increase 1 point by 1 point the size.
Another good suggestion. Try it, Edelson, and see whether you like it.
Okay, perfect. So let me try to increase to 11. These
Very good
two.
suggestion.
Yeah, I think you are not. Well, suggestion. Okay, let me try to.
Do you
Oh,
like
but
it?
now the thing is that it
Yeah.
will start going down.
Well, you can play with some of the white spaces now. So I think it's
Okay,
still
okay.
a valid suggestion, but you can play with this on the side. But I like the suggestion actually to make it stand
Yeah.
out more.
I also agree.
Anything else on this? I realize we have 20 minutes left.
I'll try to
So-
play with the spaces.
Is he planning to keep it in the paragraph form? Because if he put pointers, it would increase his resume.
Mm.
Is it so?
Did you hear that, Edelson? Another consideration for you. Because you know how we're talking about we quote unquote don't have enough. So Bobby's suggestion is you could go back to bullets. So some things for you to play with.
Yeah,
Great
yeah,
suggestion,
exactly.
Bhavya.
I think
I'm loving this session because you guys are making comments for each other. And what I like about that is when you're working on your own resume, that means you have the ability to now catch and play
yeah.
with your current version based on what we're talking about on this. So very, very good session. Nice work, Bhavya and Edelson.
Thank you, thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah. This one has
So you
to
got
be-
that recommendation for you, right?
Yes, yeah, I got it. I got it. Perfect.
Awesome. So you can play with that. That's formatting. So you can play with this on your own.
I will play with
Do you think
this.
we're ready to go to Bhavya's? Do you have any final comments for Edelson, Bhavya? Before we go to your original version? Tell us what you learned. Oh, I think Edelson needs to stop sharing though, so you can share.
Perfect. I'll stop sharing.
Thank you for volunteering your resume, Edelson.
No
and
problem.
Talk about your information.
No problem.
Hey, I'm copying Edelson's post.
Oh,
I'm still working onto it. It's not the
You're
best.
still working? Yeah,
And
why don't you start with your old one and then I want to have Edelson practice his knowledge, just like you practice your knowledge on his resume. So can we see the original? And then let's have Edelson make some
Okay.
comments,
perfect.
unless you don't have it.
I need to find it.
if it's harder to
Give me-
find. you can
No,
just
give me
use that.
1 minute. Just give me 1 minute. I can find it.
So Edelson, you get to practice your resume muscle by giving comments on Bhavya's original resume that fall within the design principles resume that we spoke about.
Perfect, perfect. I'm excited for that.
You guys can take my job now. You'll be career coaches.
Nah, nah, nah.
All right, here's the original version. I want to hear Edelson's first impressions. This was the original version.
Perfect, perfect. So as I learned, we don't need to highlight exactly our location in terms of where we live. We just need to put like Chicago 60616. It's essential. Another thing, it doesn't have a section which tells. I will tell like a mini resume the information about you, the summary. I think the summary is one of the things which is missing that will help the hiring manager have some kind of perspective of what you are and what you have done without actually reading the whole resume, especially because experience is only on the last part. So before he reads, he can have a little bit of perspective of what you have done during your life and stuff like that. Having a little bit more look on it, I'm saying you are describing instead of showing the results. So for example,
Oh,
social entrepreneurship strategy, innovation, but what the hiring manager wants to hear is what impact have you caused in doing this. So okay, for example, manage sales to promote product, collaborate with a team. Okay, but results, okay, for example, I've managed to increase the company's productivity. Let's suppose increase the company productivity
Right.
by 50%. I've managed to boost the sales of a product by 10% by doing this and that. So instead of just describing, you can actually show results. That's one technique that I learned with Mr. Bean.
Yeah. Plus, you have to admit though that Bhavya was like a little ahead of the normal
Yeah.
curve because he started quantifying it, not to the
Yeah.
extent that you're describing, Edelson, but he was calling out some numbers now. But it
Yeah,
sounds like
that's
he
good.
learned
I
some
also
more stuff after he listened. Very good. Very
exactly.
good catch.
Very good.
What
Yeah.
else?
Oof, let me see. I don't know if I'm correct or not, but I will try to put first experience, then skills. Usually,
Very nice catch.
yeah,
And
usually.
why would you put experience before skills?
Because experience when someone analyzes your resume, usually experience is what caused the most impact, because it's how you took the knowledge that you learned on the education and stuff like that, and now you are and how you actually applied into having results. So that's the most impactful thing on your resume, in my opinion. So that's why I think, and I guess you have a lot of experience. I'm seeing this. So I think you should put that on as first and then skills.
Correct. Very good observation. Very, very nice feedback, Edelson.
Yeah.
So can we go to your current version and what you obviously haven't worked on it to change it
Yes.
yet? And you have 2 pages. Did you want to speak about your certifications now or later, since you have it on that page? Because for the audience listening to the recording, Bhavya was asking me, he made an observation. He was like, I don't see a whole lot of people putting in their certifications. And what did we say, Bhavya, and what did you learn from the answer to that question?
So basically, it's very important, which I understood, that if I am applying for a IT company, then I need to have the self-driving specialization out here. This one, which I can show my programming skills, which is specifically in self-driving cars. Second thing I understood is that there's no need to add up everything, like the minor divisions or what other aspects I learned. I could just add up like 4 specialization in self-driving cars with 4 different lessons or certificates in the self-driving cars or something like that. on that line.
Very good.
This is
And that is all flavored by the job description of what
Right.
you're applying for. So you kind of said a little bit of it in the beginning. So
Yes.
again, just to reiterate, certifications are important, but they had better be relevant. It's back to the design principles of resume that we spoke about earlier. It's all about them. So for Bhavya's case right now, he has like 5 or 6 self-driving cars and he gave all the details, all the months. Is this relevant information to, like, say, a product manager, hiring manager? And the answer would be no.
No, yeah. we
So he
don't
could
need-
still acknowledge all those certificates by just quantifying it lesser and maybe just put, a phrase about it versus the way he has right now. He occupies 5 bullets, 6 bullets. So I think you guys get the point.
Yes.
Yeah.
So let us go to your current
I'm
or the
I was
resume
still
version
working
that
on
you
it.
started working on. We
It's just
realized that you're
Yeah.
still working on it.
still working on
And
it.
then I guess you could get rid of your other one. So let's
Yeah.
just talk about your current one. And then I'd like to hear Edelson tag team with me to check this version out. So I'll let Edelson practice.
So I see that now we only have Chicago 60616. It's an improvement.
Don't forget the
Eh,
Illinois, Bhavya.
Illinois,
The
yeah.
State is Chicago, and then I.
Oh yes, yes.
Capital I, capital L. Don't forget the space after the comma.
Oh yeah.
There you go.
Okay.
Edelson.
Now we have the summary, which is good, which is really good. But maybe we can try to highlight more things, a little bit more things of what you've
Very
done.
nice catch.
Because
Nice
you,
catch.
I see that you have a lot of experience and
Nice.
certifications. So try
Yeah.
to highlight that more.
Hmm.
Yeah, he just started,
example-
obviously, but very
Yes,
good catch.
I just
Edelson.
started.
I know that you
Yeah.
learned your lesson. You're flagging it right now. But to Bhavya's point, he actually rushed listening to the 2-hour workshop.
Yeah, I
Tried
know.
to do some
Sorry.
changes, and this is what we're seeing. So
Very
very nice catch, Edelson. Nice
And
work,
also,
Bhavya.
what I learned is we don't need to duplicate information. So for example, there is July 2024 and then July 2024 again on education. So
Okay.
maybe try to, I don't know. Yeah, but-
So because product and design development intern, all right. I like how you caught the redundancy. And it's quite obvious because they're both July 2024.
Mhm. Can you go down or?
Yeah.
I see the dates are formatted, which is really good.
Did you hear that, Bhavya?
Yeah.
We work on it just before the call. Innocent.
Yeah,
That's why we're
because
laughing.
I also when I was doing my resume, I also made a mistake of. It's not a mistake, but we could improve that. It's writing the full month, like January,
Yeah.
February.
So for
we
the
can try to-
purpose of the listeners, why is it important to make that change, Edelson and Bhavya?
I mean,
Why
everyone
3-letter months?
everyone knows that JUN is June and JUL is July. So
we
you
save
reduce
more
the white
space.
line. Yeah, save white space. That's also
And
a thing.
save more space. Yeah, save more
Right.
We're
space.
adding white space. So again, so that it's more inviting to be read and it takes away the clutter effect, so to speak.
Right.
Mhm.
Very good, very good. Edelson retained these lessons. I'm very proud of you. Continue. I guess I have to look for another job now because we have career coaches.
We can be the assistant, not the can be the-
I mean,
So what else can you recommend so that it helps
Yeah.
Bhavya when he does more work on this? He already spoke about the self-driving cars.
yes.
So
this
here's
has to
my
be changed.
invite to you, Bhavya. When you work on this, I would actually research an actual product management intern job that's out there right now. And then practice tailoring this version to that job description. Because what did I say about a job description being an open book? Edelson or Bhavya? Please share it with the rest of the listeners. What did we say? about the job description being a quote unquote open book?
We can see others' experiences and what the company requires. We can see the description.
Company requires.
Yeah.
Very
And
good.
on that basis, we can make changes. As I mentioned, like I have experience in mechanical and
Yes.
of experience in Python. So it
Yes.
could change it accordingly because product management works in both ways.
Exactly.
So
Yes.
mechanical
Make
and-
changes accordingly because you're tailoring your resume to the open book, otherwise known as the job description. If they're already telling you what they're looking for, and then you have it in your experience, you better be matching it so that when they look at your resume, they'd be like, Bhavya is the perfect match. It's an easy hack because I already told you what they're looking for. Very good.
Is it necessary to add months in certification?
Is it relevant to the hiring manager?
No.
Also, he highlighted the soft skills, but if on your experience you have described what you've done, it already shows what is your soft skills. I actually saw that when I was applying to a job. So I uploaded my resume, and the system was able to take out my soft skills, even though I didn't put it as actually like that. But he ended up guessing which was my skills, and he
Well,
was
it didn't
correct.
guess it. I mean, it was programmed into.
Yeah,
it, right?
programming,
It was
exactly.
guessing.
Sorry. Yeah, it was guessed. So in your experience, it will show that you are a strategy thinker, you are goal oriented, you're a problem solver. So you end up not
Did you
need.
catch that, Bhavya?
Yeah. I mean, that's the reason why I added this so that I could feed data to the AI.
Yeah.
And that is the
Yeah,
reason. But it
but a
makes sense.
more
This is a new
effective
thing.
way,
Yeah.
a more effective way to feed it is to actually put it as a description of your result.
Hmm.
Does it make sense? Versus
Yeah.
having a separate category saying soft skills. To Edelson's point. Does it make sense?
Yes.
So Edison was saying you don't need a separate category because if you have it within your resume as part of your accomplishment / result description, then you're covered.
Okay. I also had a question that, I mean, to reduce the size of the resume, I mean, of course, I'll customize it according to the company I'm applying.
Mhm.
That will also reduce the number of projects I have. But even though I
Mhm.
put it to be longer,
Mhm.
so how can I deal with this situation?
It's a very good question. And by the way, I'm flagging it. We're down to the last 4 minutes. So, okay, what you're saying is the short resume versus the long resume.
Yes.
So theoretically, if all the information in a 2-page resume applies directly to the job you're applying for, by all means, have a 2-page resume. But more likely than not, all the information in the 2-page resume is not relevant to the job you're applying to. So it's not really 1 page versus 2 page. It's actually more of what information is relevant to
Okay.
the hiring manager. Does that make sense?
Okay. Quantity doesn't matter, right? Quality matters.
Quantity, if it all applied to the job that you're applying for, by all means, make it 3 pages if you had to. Right?
Yeah.
Well, again, from the standpoint of human nature, they'd be like, dang, 3 pages. I don't want to read it. So it's kind of like a balance. And this is what we were talking about, best practices. Take everything with a grain of salt, but it's your call. Because at the end of the day, you have to make a decision as to what's important. It should be in at least the first page. Make
Okay.
sense?
Yes.
But it's not about 1 page versus 2 page. It's about giving them the relevant information. Focus on that. Did I answer your question?
Yes.
Cool. Any final words of advice in the last 2 minutes that you want to share with your fellow students? I'm really, really proud of the way you guys synthesize the resume information that we have. It's showing from what you're sharing and like some of the things that you're talking about in your current resume. So Bhavya, I'm looking forward to the next iteration of this resume. So any final words for your fellow students?
Mm.
That much, huh? Well, thank you everyone
I
for
think-
listening. It was fun.
yeah.
I'll probably end this call and then we can speak some more, but was there anything you wanted to add for the rest of your fellow students, or that was it?
I mean, something which I learned today is that you have to market yourself. I mean,
Mm,
the real customers
Important point.
are
important point.
real customers are the people who are hiring you, which are HRs and managers. And how we portray yourself in the resume would have a greater impact on how they perceive you and how do you. I mean, that's what we need to work and I need to work upon.
Very good. I love those closing lines, and those are golden
Yeah.
nuggets of wisdom. So thank you so much, Bhavya. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Allison. We
No
will
problem.
end this call, the recording